Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more. Opportunity rarely presents itself, but when it does, I seize it. As Mom and Dad pressed the button to close the garage door, my thoughts immediately turned to the box I'd hidden in the crawl space behind my closet. My body stayed frozen, watching their car shrink into the distance, while my mind wished they were gone for a month instead of just 1 week. A week was still plenty of time. Once inside, I sat at the kitchen table, my mind fixated on that box. I resisted the urge, recalling the times they had come back to grab forgotten items, Mom's curling iron or a carry-on bag left by the bed. My eyes wandered over a half-completed Sudoku puzzle, wondering if they would come back for it. 2 hours into my newfound freedom, I checked online to confirm that their flight had departed without any issues. They were headed to Europe, and I was preparing to embrace a different identity for the next 7 days. I would spend this time as a young, feminine girl. The first task was hiding any trace of my true gender. Hair removal from my arms and legs was simple enough. If my arms were longer or if I were a contortionist, it might have been easier, but I made do. After the superglue dried, I was as smooth as any girl on the West Coast, ready to pass the locker room test. I slipped into pink panties, admired my newly shaped body in the mirror, and tucked in the satin bra with C-cup chest forms. The transformation was well underway. Loving the look of long lashes, I glued on some demolashes and flirted with my reflection. The fun had truly begun, and I wasn't rushing anymore. I attached silver earrings to my lobes, enjoying their gentle sway as I continued the transformation. I set out acrylic nails and polish, carefully painting my toenails before moving on to my fingernails. Once the nail glue dried, I applied makeup. As hunger began to set in, the full Kelly emerged, dressed in a button-up blouse with puffy, off-the-shoulder sleeves and a tight-fitting skirt that ended mid-thigh. Wavy blonde hair cascaded down my back, swaying as I moved. I added a dangling belly-button ring with 2 stars and a crescent moon to complete the look. After placing all the essentials in my purse, I admired the young woman I had become in the mirror. How long had I been staring? 3 minutes? 5? I couldn't say, but my male mind was convinced there wasn't a person in the world who would look at me and say, "Oh, there's a crossdresser." I refreshed my lipstick, then grabbed the car keys and headed out. The sun had set, leaving traces of a beautiful sunset in the western sky. I smiled, appreciating its beauty, before driving east on Marion Way. When I reached the drive-thru at Carl's Jr., it wasn't until the speaker asked for my order that I realized I hadn't practiced my female voice for weeks. I nervously squeaked, "Hamburger and small Coke," before muttering an inaudible "oh no" as I rolled up the window and practiced privately. In moments, my confidence returned. Kelly was complete, and I shared a sweet thank you with the girl at the window. But before I could drive off, she smiled and said, "You look so familiar." I glanced at her name tag, Chloe. Of course. Chloe Johnson. Miss Harmon's English class. She never missed anything. I'm Kelly. Kelly Merritt. I sit in the second row, 5th seat back. I couldn't believe I had just told her my real last name and seat number. Monday was definitely going to be interesting. "Oh, yeah," she said, grinning. "I remember you with shorter hair." My eyes widened in shock, the first sign of being caught. But then she added, "So, where are you off to all dolled up like this?" "I'm off in 5 minutes, and I think we could have some fun together." I didn't speak. I just stared into Chloe's warm brown eyes, thinking I might learn something about makeup from her. "If you're interested," she said, "just park next to that PT Cruiser over there and wait for me." I said nothing, just smiled, nodded, and drove to the spot she'd suggested. By the time Chloe came out, I had finished my burger and was sipping my Coke. She tapped her acrylic nails on my passenger window, and I unlocked the door for her to hop in. She turned, flashing a cute, mischievous grin. "You're pretty cute, Kelly." Then, with a smile widening, she added, That's Kelly with an I, right? I just stared at her for a few moments. How did you know? I have a photographic memory, she giggled. I remember everything, whether I want to or not. Don't worry though, I'm not going to tell anyone at school. As far as I'm concerned, I've got a new friend named Kelly, and she's probably way less stuck up and jealous than most girls. This felt unreal. Here I was, out dressed up, about to dance in the next town, far from school, and I meet a girl from my class who is completely fine with me cross-dressing. Where else but in America? So why did you want to join me tonight? I asked. You look like you're ready for some fun. And I'm all for that. And it doesn't bother you that I'm a guy. Who's gonna know? Plus, I'm looking forward to some fun of my own. Fun how? I think we're about the same size, so we can share clothes. I bet you don't have a lot of girls' stuff, but I've got plenty. And, let's face it, girls always go to the restroom in pairs, right? You probably won't be Kelly at school, but when we're out, well, you know what I mean. I'm starting to get it, I said. And sleepovers, she continued. If you really want to experience what it's like to be a girl, we've got to do the whole thing. We'll do each other's makeup, nails, hair, dress up, everything. You do realize I'm a guy, right? Right now, you're Kelly with an I. And honestly, you want this so badly, I don't think there's anything remotely guy about you at the moment. Plus, she added, gently patting where I had used the superglue, if you were a regular boy, there'd definitely be a bulge in your panties right now. Chloe was totally cool with it, and I could tell she felt safe. So, ready to go dancing? I was hoping you'd say that, she giggled. Where? I was thinking of this little place in Rosewood. The Quiver. Yeah, you've heard of it. It's fine, but I know a better spot if you're up for it. Where? She gestured toward Gabriel's across the street. I can't go there dressed like this. No one will know, Kelly. But what if they do? They won't. Look at you, you're a girl from head to toe. You're totally safe. I've got the only photographic memory in school. But what if? Trust me, Kelly, she said, taking my hand to give me courage. Her eyes, big and pleading, silently begged me to take the leap. I couldn't resist. I started the car, drove into Gabriel's parking lot, and then the two of us strolled toward the entrance. Chloe was right, no one recognized me. I passed a few students from class, and they didn't bat an eye. You've got to be bold here, Chloe advised. Guys think the girls should make the first move. If you want to dance, you've got to pick a cute guy and walk right up to him. We set our purses on a table, then she demonstrated, walking over to Mike, a senior. In no time, they were dancing. I spotted a few guys I'd known for years. Scott and Russ were talking nonstop, but Danny was just listening, quiet as always. I walked over to him and asked, "Hi, cutie, want to dance?" His eyes went wide, and his friends went silent. He nervously mumbled, "Sure." I took his hand and led him to the dance floor. As luck would have it, a slow song started just as we arrived, so we awkwardly swayed to the music. He turned out to be a surprisingly good dancer. But before we could dance again, Chloe grabbed my arm, pulling me toward the restroom. I hesitated, staring at the word women on the door, unsure if I should go in. But she tugged me inside, ending the debate for me. I stood there, unsure how to respond. Come on, Kelly with an I, if you're going to be a girl, you've got to go in the restroom. That's how it works. I opened my mouth, but the words didn't come. Instead, a sparkly smile spread across my face, though nothing was said. Well, she asked. Did you enjoy being with him? Could he dance? It was exciting. And I'd still be dancing with him if you hadn't pulled me into the bathroom. Wow, you really are a girl. You want to dance with him, don't you? Chloe had hit the nail on the head. I was dancing with a guy, and I was completely fine with it. My first time out as a girl, and everything seemed to be falling into place. I looked at her and nodded. Want to kiss him too? Chloe. Well, do you? I don't know. I haven't thought that far yet. You better start thinking, because he wants to kiss you. We paused for a moment, then freshened up our makeup. As we turned to leave, she added, "Be careful, Kelly. You're moving fast for the new girl. Isn't that okay? Not if you mess up and let him get too close. He might get the wrong idea." "They're foam." "Yeah, but if it all comes out, he won't be too happy. And if he finds out he's been kissing a guy, you could be in trouble." Then, with a playful glint in her eye, she added, "You know, you might be better off dancing with a few other guys until you're comfortable with this or until you make it permanent." That actually made sense. Why focus on just one guy when I could dance with all the cute guys in the place? "Chloe, you're a genius." The night went on, and with each dance, I gained more confidence as a girl than I had ever had as a guy. I even danced 3 times with my best friend, and he had no idea. It was probably a good thing that it was dark at Gabriel's. After our 3rd dance, he asked for my number, and I panicked, realizing that he might recognize it. But then it hit me, none of the guys had asked for my name all night. I was just the girl they enjoyed dancing with. So, I whispered, "I never give out my number on Fridays. You'll have to wait until tomorrow." Before he could say anything, I kissed him on the cheek and quickly walked away. On the way to the car, I told Chloe that I'd never had so much fun. I didn't realize how exciting it was to be a girl. After I dropped her off at her car, she invited me over to her house the next day for a swimming party with just the 2 of us. I got the directions and headed home. When I arrived, Chloe's brother let me in, commenting, "You're just as pretty as Chloe said." That was the biggest boost to my feminine ego. The dance had been fun, but in the dark, I had wondered if everyone would still see me as a guy in the light. I thanked him for the compliment as Chloe walked in with 2 bottles of Pepsi and led me to her bedroom to change. She handed me a periwinkle swimsuit with a skirt. "I think this will cover your, well, you know," she said, tossing it to me. Then she began undressing, dropping her clothes on the floor. Within moments, she was completely undressed, just 3 feet away. A fleeting thought crossed my mind, any guy would love to be so close to a beautiful girl. But the thought quickly faded as Chloe said, "Now it's your turn." I hesitated, unsure. I wasn't a girl, and she knew that, but it didn't feel quite right. "Come on, Kelly. I want to see how you're hiding it." I felt my face turn red, but I started to undress and was soon just as exposed as she was. "Pretty good," she smiled, inspecting between my legs. "But the glue isn't holding quite as well as it should. Let me fix it." Before I could react, she pushed me gently onto the mattress. "Chloe, no. What's going on?" "You're showing," she whispered. "I just need to pull everything up and re-glue it." "No big deal." She reached for a tube of superglue and moved toward me. I tried to roll away, but she easily pulled me back into position. "Kelly," she scolded softly. "Just relax. I'm on your side." I nodded, unsure of what to say. "You're not taking estrogen, are you?" "No." "Why?" "You're having a little bit of an excitement. Estrogen would prevent that." As she spoke, she ran her fingertips across my imaginary vagina and turned me on all the more. See? She was right. Then she picked up the ice-cold Pepsi and started rolling it across the same area. Immediately, the excitement was gone. She dried my skin with a towel, squirted a line of superglue on my scrotum, then pinched it together for a few seconds till it held. "I guess I should say, thanks." She winked, then said, "I guess I should say, you're welcome." Together we laughed, then she fell down on the mattress beside me, her arm around my waist. "Kelly." "Yeah. How long have you known you should be a girl?" I lay silently for a few seconds, then volunteered, "Probably since I was about 4. Did you ever go out before last night?" "Sorta. I mean, I went out for long drives about 5 times since I got my license. Before that I would get up in the middle of the night, dress up to some degree, then walk around the block or ride my bike or just sit on the front porch for a couple of hours while the whole neighborhood slept. It's like I can go so long as a guy, Then I feel like I'm going to explode if I don't dress up as a girl or put on makeup or wear earrings or do something girly. Do you ever wear girly underwear to school? No. It'd be discovered in PE. But I've worn clear mascara every day since I was 12. So how far are you going to take this? I mean, are you going back to being Kelly with a Y when your parents get home? Don't know. Right now I'm enjoying this. And I have my mind set on being a girl for just about a week. When my parents are about home from Europe, I will have to reevaluate my situation. Why so much interest? 'Cause I'm a freak. No, silly, she giggled. Didn't you look at me when I undressed? Yeah. And what did you see? An unclothed girl. What was I supposed to see? Chloe rolled away, turning her back to me. Chloe, what was I supposed to see? Don't you get it, Kelly? I'm just like you. You're, what? Just like you. A boy. Why do you think I knew how to glue you back together? But you have a feminine chest. You can't be a boy and have a chest like that. She jumped up from the bed and stood right in front of me with a cupped hand under each chest. Look closely, she said. Don't they look a little too perfect? They're beautiful, Chloe. I'd like some just like them. I started taking estrogen when I was 11. I started testosterone blockers at the same time. I grew chests, an A cup. Then last year I got implants when Dad realized I was doing this for keeps. The hormone changes stopped male hair growth and prevented me from ever having some excitement down there. But I still have to tuck my little male boy just like you do, or at least I have to until I have reassignment surgery. I stared into her face for a moment, then sat up on the edge of the bed right in front of Chloe and slid my hands up to her chests. They were wonderful. I ran my fingers across her pointers till they stood at attention. Wanna feel anything else? I froze. Was she serious? I've been doing this since I was 4, Kelly. I never transitioned. I've always known I was supposed to be a girl, and my parents have raised me that way. I know my dad wanted another boy, and was happy when I came along with all the right parts, but even so he accepts me as a girl. Slowly I stood up right in front of Chloe. We stared at each other in silence for a moment or two, then she took my left hand with her right and pulled it to her slit. That was all the help I needed. I rubbed my hand up and down and discovered that she did indeed have the same parts as I. My movement was turning her on, so I stopped. Maybe we'd better get dressed and go out by the pool. Good idea, or we might appear to be a couple lesbians. I pulled the suit up and stretched the straps over my shoulders. Hey, Chloe. Yes. Do you have anything to fill these pockets? I was pointing at the empty cups. She walked slowly to the dresser and brought out 2 silicone chest forms, much nicer than what I had been wearing. I slid them into place and immediately felt the difference. Once dressed, she took me by the hand and led me through the house to her backyard where we spent the afternoon soaking up the rays and giggling about everything girly we'd ever done. Her mom invited me to stay for dinner, then we watched some old silent movies with her brother who sat beside me for a while. Chloe had told me earlier that he knew about me, but he was flirting anyway and I have to admit I enjoyed every minute of it. When he got close enough, I reached over and hooked my pinky around his. He seemed surprised, likely because he hadn't expected me to notice him inching closer, but he didn't pull away. Around 10:30, I told Chloe it was time for me to head home. We went back to her room, and I changed back into my dress. She helped me touch up my makeup for the drive home, and then I was off. I parked in the driveway, feeling tired as I trudged through the front door. I realized I should have set up a lamp or 2 on a timer. I stumbled into the kitchen, flicked on the light, grabbed 2 cookies from the jar, and poured myself a glass of milk. I sat at the table, zoning out until my eyes caught the Sudoku puzzle my parents had left behind. It was finished. Holy shit, I mumbled under my breath, jumping up to switch off the light. But it was too late. As I crossed the room, I froze when I saw my parents stepping in from the dark hallway. We stared at each other in complete silence. Finally, Mom whispered, her voice tentative, "Kelly, is that you?" I nervously giggled before responding, "Yeah, Mom, it's me. But from now on, it's gotta be Kelly, with an I.